Hello and welcome to this FPL Gameweek 18 team selection video with me, Holly Shand. In this video, I'll be going through my transfer plan selection and captaincy ahead of Thursday's deadline. Now, around 50% of people who watch my content don't currently subscribe to the channel, so if that is you, I am heading for 30k subs by the end of 2023, but I do need all your help, so make sure to like and subscribe. Let's get this one up to 500 likes, and I will be answering all comments on this video. Let's get into it. Starting off with how my game week 17 has gone then, and it didn't feel like a particularly good game week. Had quite a busy weekend, so I wasn't following the football that closely. So I was surprised to see a significant green arrow up around 100k places. There is obviously an asterisk associated with that because we're still waiting for FPL to finalise the outcome of the postponement of the Bournemouth and Luton game. All our thoughts obviously with Tom Lockyer and his family and all of the Luton family as well. But 67 points with a -4. It felt like maybe my hit hadn't paid off because I went Simicast to Trent for a -4 essentially, and Trent only outscored Simicast by 2 points, but Trent did look in fabulous form, right where we want to see him, in the heart of Liverpool's midfield, taking shots on goal. So I'm pretty happy with him as a pick going forward. Watkins coming in for Haaland obviously delivered that one with a 9-pointer. So I got to be pleased with that. I felt like returns were thin on the ground in the attack. Obviously I got the Palmer Hall, the Gordon points as well, but it was a blank from Captain Salah and vice-captain Son and Saka, but I guess because all of the main captain candidates blanked, didn't matter too much. Had points on my bench with Livramento and Lascelles with a 9-pointer and a 6-pointer. Will we see them again as regulars in my FPL team? I'm not sure, but it didn't matter because Saliba and Porro both coming up with clean sheets and bonus points as well, making it, you know, very good week for my defence. Should have probably played 5 at the back, but it was never in my consideration, so I can't really complain too much with that. Now, before I get into my transfer plans, I just wanted to take a look at the midweek fixtures because we have the Carabao League Cup quarterfinals happening on Tuesday and Wednesday evening, and this involves 6 Premier League teams. We've got Everton v Fulham, Chelsea v Newcastle there on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday we see Liverpool against West Ham before Thursday's early game week 18 deadline. So it's going to be a particularly difficult week to navigate because we've got midweek fixtures. We're going to have very few press conferences ahead of the deadline, and we'll of course be doing a press conference stream on Thursday, probably around 1 o'clock. It just depends when those press conference times land. So it's not going to be an easy one to prepare for, this one, unfortunately, but we're going to have to do our best, take what clues we can get and go on with that. It's going to be exactly the same going into game week 19. Obviously, the turnaround in fixture time comes very quick between Saturday and Tuesday, essentially, and there won't be any press conferences for those games either. So we are going to be kind of playing FPL blind for a few weeks. But it's important to note that and be aware, especially if you're carrying players that are prone to injury or suspension. Looking at my transfer plans then, I've got one free transfer. I've got 3 million in the bank, obviously, from selling Haaland. I guess a lot of my transfer plans depend on the status of Haaland. We should get information because City are due to play on Tuesday and then Friday at the Club World Cup. So I guess Haaland's involvement, particularly Pep's press conference before the second game, will give us then clues on how we should approach this and how soon we'll want Haaland back, because I guess we don't want to spend those funds from Haaland if we want to get him back before game week 19. I guess if game week 19 is the target, then we're going to have to be a bit more cautious. If it's looking more like game week 2021, then that becomes easier because we've got Salah and Son heading off to the Asia Cup after game week 20. So a bit of fluidity here. The main concern that I've got is that I may not have a goalkeeper for game week 18 because Flecken blanks because Brentford were the team that were due to play City, and Areola He was injured. He was on the bench in game week 17 for West Ham. West Ham kept a clean sheet in a 3-0 win against Wolves. Fabianski in goal. And that does make me wonder, given Areola's poor form, whether it's Fabianski's place to lose now. Now, West Ham play in the Carabao Cup in midweek. Fabianski has been the cup goalkeeper. So I should imagine Fabianski will play that game because he's already got this team to the quarterfinals. So I'm not sure if we're going to get any clues midweek about whether Areola will be available and playing for West Ham or not. Hopefully someone asks David Moyes in his press conference at some point who is the number one goalkeeper. I'll be looking out for news of that. But if it looks unlikely that Areola plays and I'm going to be without a goalkeeper, as much as I don't like making transfers for goalkeepers, I feel like there could be a bit of an opportunity here to bring in a goalkeeper for game week 18, as much as I'd love to roll the transfer. And it's Aston Villa's Emi Martinez, who is the one on my radar right now. I think it would be Areola coming out for Martinez because we know that Flecken will have a double game week down the line, so he'll be useful to hold on my bench. I know it takes up funds, but I don't think funds is going to be an issue for the next month or so, when we know that Pep's predicting that this game with Brentford should be happening fairly soon. So if Martinez comes in, there's the upside of Sheffield United at home this week. Remember, Aston Villa are in great form, flying high in the Premier League table. We know Martinez is a class goalkeeper, a World Cup winner. He's had some very good seasons in FPL. So that's a move that I find quite attractive, but I don't really want to make it unless I'm pretty confident that Areola doesn't play against Manchester United at home. The other transfer that I'm weighing up is to get rid of Liverpool's Darwin Núñez, because it's a tricky week this week, especially for those managers with a lot of Liverpool and Arsenal players, because Liverpool, of course, at home to Arsenal this week. Now, I am predicting Liverpool to have the upper hand in this game because they are at home, but I've got Trent, who I'm happy to play because I feel like he's fixture-proof because of his attacking potential. Obviously, I'm going to play Salah, but Darwin, does he even start? Because he started 4 of the last 5, only got an assist in that time. Klopp does have options. I'm not convinced he starts. He's going to get a rest at some point. If it isn't in this game, it's likely to be the next game, which is a little bit more favourable. And I am looking to bring in Bournemouth's Dominic Solanke. I wasn't that hot on him as a Haaland replacement last week. Obviously got the goal in that abandoned game against Luton. If that game does get wiped and the points gets wiped in FPL, then Solanke again could have a double on the horizon in a not so distant future. He is a player that is the talisman of his side, plays 90 minutes, is on penalties. So a useful player when in form to own in a period that's particularly congested. Now, I'm not going to definitely be making one of these transfers. I may make neither of them. If I do make a transfer, there will only be one transfer that I make. Now, I did also put my team through the My Team tool on Fantasy Football Hub. You can do this as well with a 30-day free trial, which will cover you for the next 4 game weeks. And it did throw up another interesting transfer, which is to sell Newcastle United's Livramento, who is unlikely to play now that Burn's back. Obviously, he played in place of Trippier in game week 17 because Trippier was banned. Trippier back in, and the recommended transfer is to go for Trippier. Now, there are pros and cons of this. A lot of them, the ideas on this depend on if I want Haaland back, because that would involve making all of that 3 million that I've got in the bank, using that to make this transfer, which will limit my flexibility going forward. So that's something I'm conscious of. It also depends on, I'm hoping to bench Saliba this week and play Lascelles for the Luton game. However, that relies on Botman being out that relies on either Botman not being fit enough to start. Obviously, we'll get clues on that midweek because Newcastle United are in the Carabao Cup midweek. And also, Fabian Schär is flagged with an injury. So, Lascelles could play. So, that would diminish the attractiveness of that transfer, let's say. But it's all up for grabs. You can get your recommended transfer using the Fantasy Football Hub, My Team tool, using the link in the description. You can get a 30-day free trial. It's well worth checking out. Team selection time then, and this currently hinges on me rolling the free transfer, but obviously with the midweek fixtures and those potential transfers I've discussed, plenty could change, but I am going to still look for clues. Areola at home to Manchester United. I put him on my bench for now because I think the most likely transfer could be Martinez in, so it's flecking between the sticks at the moment, but it could be Martinez coming in the place of Areola if I decide to make that move to get myself a goalkeeper. In defence, I think the defence kind of picks itself. Trent at home to Arsenal, I'm happy to play him in that fixture. Porro in fine form at home to Everton. And then it's Lascelles, the third spot in my defence, Luton away. I need to be confident Lascelles starts, but I think if Lascelles doesn't start, then potentially Saliba will come in. There's obviously Livramento as well. He could play higher up for Newcastle United as well. So that's something to keep an eye on. He doesn't need to play in that four-man defence. So I have got options on my bench if Lascelles is potentially not a starter. And I feel like a defensive move is kind of the least likely of the three transfers we've discussed already. In the midfield, obviously Palmer and Gordon both in great form. I've got Son with an attractive fixture at home to Everton. And then I've got Saka and Salah matching off against each other, and add into the mix Darwin in the attack, and then Watkins home to Sheffield United with Archer, an option on my bench should any of my attacking players miss out this week. Now, when it comes to captaincy, it feels like a particularly difficult week. Obviously, there's no Haaland. Saka and Salah don't really feel like options when they play each other. Obviously, Salah's got a very good record at Anfield this season, but he did blank last time out. Again, quite a bit depends on midweek minutes here. Obviously, Salah does play in the League Cup midweek if he starts. For me, probably Son of the premium options is the way to go. I tend to say go with the premium options, but I am looking at Watkins this week because Aston Villa and Watkins are absolutely sensational at home, and kind of the best fixture on the calendar this season is Sheffield United at home. Obviously, Villa have got the midweek off, no involvement in the Carabao Cup, so we don't need to worry too much about starts and minutes. Watkins doesn't tend to pick up many fitness issues either, touch wood. So I think I will go with Watkins for the armband and Son vice-captain at the moment, but that obviously could change if more information develops. Obviously, Spurs don't have a midweek fixture either, so that suits them as well. But that's what I'm thinking of doing with the armband at the moment. Drop your dilemmas below then. I'm aiming to answer all comments on this video, and make sure to like and subscribe. We're going for 500 likes on this video, and I'm very, very close to hitting 30k subscribers by the end of the year, but I am going to need your help because only 50% of you guys that watch my content actually subscribe to the channel, so please help me out. It would mean the world to get there by the end of the season. And check out the link in the description to the Fantasy Football Hub My Team tool to get your own recommended transfers going into a difficult round of fixtures. I'll be back on Thursday for the press conference stream ahead of the early deadline. Thank you for watching.